live or not. I think that maybe we are. Yes, it says we are live. Hello, everybody. Hello. My name is Reverend Angie Hewett Abt, and next to me is Reverend Irene Lavin. And we welcome you to Santosha's church, our spiritual worship service. Sorry, we are having some technical difficulties, so we apologize. We're a couple minutes late, and right now our partner Karen is working to get John White on, so he's going to be here speaking. So I just wanted to let you know a little bit about what our spiritual worship service is about, just in case you've never been to a service like this before. So this worship service is based on the religion of spiritualism. It actually started here in Western New York in 1848. Spiritualism believes that life continues after the physical change called death, and that God is a loving God who wants only our greatest good. We are spiritual beings having an earthly experience as we learn lessons for our individual growth. Spiritualism firmly believes that the gateway to reformation or change for the better is always open to each of us. So I would like to start. I'd like to start with a prayer. Okay. Mother, Father, God, we ask for your blessings on this day for each and every one of us here today watching this spiritual service, and everybody on the earth plane, as we send energy and love from all our hearts to everyone on the planet. Peace, peace, peace. Amen.
Amen.
So okay. I'm going to read you a story. Here we go. Oh, hi, John. Hi, Karen. Okay, everyone's on. We're live, you guys. We're live. Okay.
Yep. We just had to turn off our phones. Sorry about that.
Okay. Our technical difficulties are over. And below me is Reverend John White. He's a Lilydale registered medium and a friend of mine. And I'm really happy to have him here. And up and next to me, or at least it appears that way on my screen, is Karen Sully from K Dynamics, and she's our tech person, my assistant, my friend, does everything for us. We couldn't survive without you, Karen. So
thank you. Yeah, and we got John here. So
John, yes, yay. Okay,
yay.
So welcome. We're happy you're here.
Me too.
So I'm gonna do a quick reading, and then we're gonna let John go ahead and speak. So I was looking for a reading today for our worship service, and I couldn't find anything that seemed appropriate. And I wanted to read something that had something to do with everything that's happening in our world right now. And I went to a friend's Facebook page. A lot of you might know him as Mark Thomas. And he posts the best things. And I found a story there that I wanted to share with you. Okay. It's a little probably longer than what we usually read, but not too bad. So Harold Henry was born on July 23rd, 1918 in Akron, Kentucky. When he was 8 years old, his family moved to racially segregated Louisville. Harold never got to know any Black folks growing up. He said the schools were segregated, so we didn't go to school with them. He also added that he never got to play with them because they weren't allowed in the parks. While playing amateur baseball in a church league, Harold was noticed and would later play for the minor league Louisville Colonels, where his teammates called him the Little Colonel. Harold eventually made it to the big league, then enlisted in the United States Navy in 1943. While serving in the Navy, a shipmate told him that a Black man was signed to his baseball team and that he might be taking the job. Rather than becoming angry, Harold supposedly told his shipmate, well, if he can beat me out, more power to him. When he finally got back to the States, he finally met his Black teammate and shook his hand. He admitted it was the first time he ever shook the hand of a Black man. And when a petition was passed around in spring training by some players saying they would refuse to play with a black man, Harold refused to sign it. Then came the moment that has become immortalized. During one game, as usual, his black teammate was being heckled because he was black. His teammate seemed so alone on the field, as seemingly the entire stadium was booing, jeering at him for no other reason than the color of his skin. None of his other teammates went to the black player's defense. Harold could not stand it any longer. He didn't care what the other player would think of him. He didn't care what the rest of the stadium would do. He didn't care how his own hometown would react to him or his family. So on that day, on that field, in that stadium, Harold did the most amazing thing. He didn't hit a major home run. He didn't perform acrobatics catching a ball, and he didn't pitch a no-hitter. What he did would be remembered for all eternity in baseball history and American history. Harold Henry, or as his teammates called him by that time, Pee Wee Reese, simply walked over to his teammate, Jackie Robinson, and put his arm around him, leaving his arm there for all to see, chatting with him innocently about who knows what. But it silenced everyone in the stadium. The boos and racial slurs suddenly stopped, the crowd no longer knowing what to think or how to act. Pee Wee Reese was one of the most respected players in the league, and he just showed everyone why. One writer noted, people have a choice. They can either choose to hate or they can choose to love their fellow man. Reese had no reason to hate Jackie Robinson. It was a grand gesture of support, friendship, and respect for his fellow man. Robinson would add, "I will never forget it." Another Major League Baseball black pioneer, Joe Black, would say, when Pee Wee reached out to Jackie, all of us in the Negro League smiled and said it was the first time that a white guy had accepted us. When I finally got up to Brooklyn, I went to Pee Wee and said, "Black people love you. When you touched Jackie, you touched all of us." In 2005, after both men had passed away, Reese's son would be present at the unveiling of a monument honoring that a moment in baseball history between Pee Wee Reese and Jackie Robinson. "My father had done his own soul searching," said Mark Reese, Pee Wee's son, in the New York Times, and he knew that some fans, teammates, and yes, some family members didn't want him to play with the black man. But Mark Reese added, "My father listened to his heart and not to the chorus." In the New York Times, Marty Markovitz, the Brooklyn Borough president, said, when Pee Wee Reese threw his arm around Jackie Robinson's shoulder in this legendary gesture of support and friendship, they showed America and the world that racial discrimination is unacceptable and un-American. Reese himself in 1997 said, "Something in my gut reacted at the moment." Something about what? The unfairness of it, the injustice of it, I don't know. Reese would later say, "I was just trying to make the world a little bit better." That's what you're supposed to do with your life, isn't it? And I just want to say that all of us can make a difference. You know, that one man made a difference, okay, and change things where really this went down in history. And if we all do this as individuals, we can create change. Every one of us, like one of us at a time. Because you know what? If one person reaches out with his heart to another, who then reaches out with their heart to another, and then to another, and another after that, that begins a chain reaction that really does create change. So that's why I wanted to read that, because I felt it was appropriate for today. And I thank you for listening.
Thank you.
And I'm going to turn it over to Irene.
Okay, we're going to have a brief meditation, and then we'll send out healing before our inspirational speaker, Reverend John White, speaks. So I'd like you, all of you in your homes, just to get comfortable. This is a time when we can let the healing energies bathe us, be around us, and take time for stillness, you know. So now that you're comfortable, let's start with a breath, and we're going to just exhale. Exhale all the things of the day so far. Just let it go. Just exhale. And as we breathe in, we want to do a nice deep belly breath and breathe in, hold it for just a moment, and then take a longer exhale. And this will relax each of us. Relax us. Relax us. Let's take another breath in and feel the energy and peacefulness of stillness start to enter us. And again, a longer exhale. We feel ourselves relaxing, relaxing. And then take the last breath at your own pace. Inhaling love, stillness, and letting go. And we find ourselves free, free in this moment of stillness, placing ourselves in our relationship with all that is holy, with the divine within us and around us. And we sit in silence and let this divinity, this love, this feeling of being cherished surround us and fill our being as we sit in silence for a few minutes. We feel our hearts lifting up as this energy comes in, this divine energy of love, this energy that nourishes our very being. And we feel peace upon us and within us. And gradually, we can wiggle our toes and our fingers to sort of come back to this everyday life, knowing that we are fueled by this energy. And as we sit in this silence, coming back, this brief time of meditation, of connection with the divine, let us open up to the healing energy that is around us, joining together, one with the other, placing ourselves and opening to the healing energy that is around us so that we may feel it for ourselves, for those we love and care about, for their greater good. We know that healing is going to them. We open up also further. We expand this healing energy throughout each nation so that it covers nation by nation, the whole world. We can feel this blessed energy, this healing energy going to each and every person on this earth plane, uplifting us, helping us, healing us. We know it is so. We know it is so. We know it is so. And it is so. We feel uplifted and we give thanks. We give thanks to God for this healing energy and for our place in sharing this healing one with the other. Thank you, dear God. And thank you for all the angels that attend each and every one of us and support us through our days. Amen.
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 Ooh.
Thank you, Marion. That was nice.
All right. So this brings us to our inspirational speaker, and I'm going to read Reverend John White's abbreviated form of his biography, because this is a man who has done many, many things in his life. Our visiting speaker, Reverend John White, is a practicing medium, teacher, lecturer, and intuitive counselor. For the past 22 years, Reverend John has lived in Lilydale, New York, the largest spiritualist community in the world. He has been a practicing medium for close to 40 years, sharing his gift with thousands throughout the world. For him, it is always an honor and a pleasure to be able to work with spirit in helping another on the earth plane. Reverend John White also teaches many classes, including Akashic Records, channeling the higher mind, guides, angels and masters, past life regressions, lucid and spiritual dreaming, medical intuitive mind, getting in touch with your sacred self, and more. Yes, so much to offer. So it is our great pleasure to welcome our speaker tonight, Reverend John White. Thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you very much. What a pleasure. What a pleasure it is being with you, Angie, and your whole spiritual group.
Thank you.
Well, I'm coming to you from downtown Lilydale, New York. And I want to talk a little bit tonight about mediumship. So faith is the evidence of things heard but not seen. So faith is the evidence of things hoped for the evidence of things not seen. I want to tell just some brief stories of why I believe the way that I believe. It started many, many years ago when I was 6 years old, and I was going to a Catholic school, and I was extremely shy. I was in grade 1. I was extremely shy. And because I was shy and they were putting on a play with Jesus, I got to play the part of Jesus because Jesus didn't have to say anything. And so sitting there in a large room with all the students and all the parents, And all of a sudden, the teacher read this. Forbid not the children to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of heaven. Forbid not the children to come unto me, for such is the kingdom of heaven. And all of a sudden, the energy in the room changed. And to this day, I don't know if it was Jesus or an angel, but the energy in the room changed. And, you know, it says in the Bible, in order for you to enter the kingdom of God, you have to become like a child. So I was very shy. And so my first spiritual experience was playing the part of Jesus, the teacher reading that, and a being of light came into the room. And I didn't really take note of it. Now, I bet if you go back in your lives, at different times in your life, you would have experienced slipping into your timeless mind, getting visits from members of your family and angels, but you didn't recognize it. We love here to teach at Lilydale. We call it being intuitively intelligent. So for instance, there's something called academic intelligence, and then we have emotional intelligence and physical intelligence, but guess what? There is something called intuitive intelligence. And here at Lilydale, we teach you how to become intuitively intelligent. That means knowing how to work with your intuitive mind, because as a medium, it is through the 5 intuitive senses that we receive messages from the beyond. And I'd like to continue telling just a so simple stories, and hopefully this will inspire you. I do believe that I was a Tibetan monk in Tibet a long time ago. And one time I was being regressed into a past life. And I saw myself as a Tibetan monk, and I was learning how to do soul traveling and out-of-body experiences. And I thought it was very interesting, but I didn't really take any note of it. But then several years later, slipped into what is known as a lucid dream. Lucid dreaming is that when you're dreaming and you know you're dreaming and all of a sudden you become conscious inside the dream. The Tibetan monk that I met in the past life regression is there standing at the end of my bed. He got me to do this special breathing exercise, and he took me off into the spirit world to go visit my grandfather who passed on many years ago. And so sitting in front of my grandfather didn't say anything, but I knew that I was in a sacred place. You know, in A Course in Miracles, it talks about love and fear. And on my way to that spirit world, I remember have a sensation of being afraid. But I remember the Tibetan monk turning to me and saying, "We're sorry, that doesn't exist here." And that's when I first found out that in some of the higher spirit worlds, the emotion that we call fear doesn't exist. So there I am sitting in front of my grandfather. He's simply patting a little dog. And I knew in a holy instant that he was going to take care of me. And then I was brought back to my bed. I was living in Montreal, Canada at the time. And I got up and I was walking around. Oh, I was so nervous what was going on. And then I laid down again. I went back to sleep. And the Tibetan monk showed up again. And he took me to another spirit world. And the best way that I can explain it, now remember, Jesus said that in my Father's house there are many mansions, and if it wasn't true, I wouldn't have told you so. So literally, there are many different spirit worlds. And in this spirit world, the best way that I could try to explain it is that it's as if there was just people floating and walking around. And the Tibetan monk was standing beside me. And I mean this literally, by the way. And for some reason, I was able to be aware of the thoughts and emotions of those beings in that spirit world. And I was very surprised to find out that they still seem to have their emotions and desires and fears and anxieties. Okay? And so that's why I often tell people, you know, just because you've passed on, it doesn't mean you know a lot. You know, there's an old Buddhist saying, wherever you are, there you are. So let me try this little exercise with some of you. I want to show you what it's like when you pass on. Close your eyes. Open your eyes. This is it. Whatever's going on in your mind now is going to go on in your mind after you pass on. And I was really surprised because I thought that once you pass on, you know it all. Boy, are we in for a surprise? Okay. But then the Tibetan monk took me back to my bed, and I got up again. I walked around. I was very nervous, and then he took me to another place, and he took me to a house that was in the physical world, and I saw this man working on papers. And so it is experiences like that that I've had the opportunity of having to know without a shadow of a doubt that we do not die. That we do not die. And here in Lilydale, we teach you that. Nobody dies. Nobody dies. And it is not that my faith is because I've met all these beautiful angels and different master teachers throughout time, but it's something as simple as meeting my father who passed on to come to visit me, talking to my brother who passed on, coming to speak to me. Just the other day, I was giving a reading to an elderly couple where their son committed suicide. And he came, and it's not that on the other side of life he's going through those judgments that like some religions or faiths would get us to believe. He's sorry that he committed suicide, but that he was bipolar and he was on all sorts of medications and he was going through a divorce. He just couldn't emotionally take it anymore. So unfortunately, he shot himself. But he came to me during that reading to talk to his mother and father and ask their forgiveness. And he was fine. He was with his family. He was with his grandmother and his grandfather and his friends on the other side of life. Okay? So it's experiences like this as a medium and also a person who really very much into meditation that we can have these experiences. Now, many years ago, I learned how to meditate. I remember the Beatles going off to India. That's a long time ago. And so in 1972, I learned that thing called transcendental meditation. Okay? And I went into an altered state and I started having psychic experiences. Now, I go back so far that I remember when only a few people were doing yoga in the world, by the way. But look now, it's everywhere. Okay? So I want to encourage you, for those of you who are getting involved in mediumship and meditation, that you are making a profound difference in the world. And, it's not, my faith does not come from what I was told in church or what I read in books, but it is those personal experiences that I have experienced. So I bet if you go back into your life, basically, you will recognize, hey, when I was 6 years old or 7 or 10 or 12, I had an experience, but I didn't know what it felt like. Well, here at Lilydale, we teach you how to recognize it. For instance, I am not more intuitive. I'm not more of a medium than what you are. I am someone through practice have learned how to recognize when I'm receiving it. Okay? And so here at Lilydale, we teach you how to do exactly that. So again, faith is the evidence of things hoped for the evidence of things not seen. But I want to encourage you to learn how to meditate. And I want to encourage you to do whether it's yoga or Tai Chi or any of those things that help you to enter up to a higher state so that you may have your own experiences. Know thyself. Know thyself. And when you get to know yourself, you realize that you are a very powerful being, that you were made in the image of God. And when in Christianity we talk about the gifts of the Spirit, one of the gifts of the Spirit is the ability to discern the Spirit. And what is that? That's mediumship. And in the early Christian church, they used to stand up and give messages that encourage each other. Okay? And so why do we call these different gifts the gifts of the Spirit? They're gifts because they were given to you before you were born. And the original sin, by the way, is that we have forgotten who we are. And when you remember who you are, you remember that you're a holy divine spirit of God, and that each and every one of us has different gifts of the Spirit. Now, depending on your personality, depending on who you are, you may have the gift of knowledge, the gift of wisdom, the gift of prophecy, the gift of miracles and wonders, the gift of healing, and the gift of mediumship. So whatever your gift is, it is deep inside of you. Remember that he or she that is in you is greater than the person that is in the world. He or she that is in you is greater than the person that is in the world. And when we learned how to meditate, we create a higher vibration and we begin to open those gifts of the Spirit. So it wasn't really until I learned how to meditate that I began to remember these gifts that were inside of me. Because the original sin is that we have forgotten who we are. And when you begin to meditate, and different meditations work for different people, then you begin to recognize how you yourself can awaken these different gifts of the Spirit. So again, faith is the evidence of things hoped for the evidence of things not seen. But if you meditate, okay, what will happen is that you'll begin to have your own experiences and no one can take that away from you. I remember many different relatives who have come to visit me from the other side of life. And again, it is the simple visit from relatives from the other side of life that has really built up my faith. And oh, what a pleasure it is when people come, like the couple just the other day, the elderly couple who lost their son through suicide. And they were so afraid of where he was and those superstitions that some of the churches teach us. No, there was no judgment. Even though he took his own life, there was no judgment. He realized his mistakes. He was with a loving family on the other side of life, and he's continuing to grow and develop himself on the other side of life. Okay? So these things are the things that help me in my faith, and these are the things that I hope will help you in your faith. Now, each and every one of us have different guides and different teachers. Like, for instance, with me, it was simply my grandfather who I met. So that's why in spiritualism, when you first develop your mediumship, you'll feel the grandfather and grandmother, different members of the family that will come around you, because they're very happy to help you to awaken that gift of your spirit. And then as time goes on, you'll get to know who your spirit guides are. And when you get to know who your spirit guides are, you get to know what your natural talents are. And then you'll get to know how to communicate with the higher beings of light. Okay? So my message to you this evening is to meditate, but do not depend on other people's faith or other people's understanding. Go for it yourself. Remember, Socrates said, know thyself. And when you get to know yourself, you get to know the divine spirit that is inside of you. So, my friend, go placidly amid the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They also have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are fictitious to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always in the world there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. But remember this, that he or she that is in you is greater than the person that is in the world. And no matter what lies in front of you or behind you, are all tiny matters compared to what lies inside of you. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble, for it is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery, but do not let that blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals everywhere. Life is full of heroism. Be yourself. Especially do not feign affection, neither be cynical about love, for it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of years, gracefully surrendering things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortunes, but do not distress yourself with imaginings. Many fears come from fatigue and loneliness. Do you not know that you are a child of the universe? No less than the trees and the stars, you have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding the way that it should. Therefore, my friend, be at peace with God, whoever you conceive him or her or that infinite intelligence to be. And whatever your trials and tribulations, dreams and aspirations in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace with your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be joyous, strive to be happy. And thank you for allowing me to share these few moments with you. And thank you.
Thank you, Reverend John. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Reverend John. That was wonderful. I love hearing you speak. You're very inspirational, sorry. And I learn a lot every time. Thank you so much. And it's so awesome that we can have you here, and you're in Lilydale and we're here in Buffalo. So this is amazing.
Thank you. It
Hey, good
fills
luck
our
with your
hearts.
radio show, Angie.
Pardon me, John?
Your radio
Oh, the
show,
radio.
Angie.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I know. I'm excited about the radio show. Yes. And yours too. Yours is this evening on Lilydale Blog Talk at 8 o'clock,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
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 Give a listen. And yeah, mine's on Mondays at 7 p.m.
Okay, God bless.
Thank you.
God bless
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much.
Everybody's saying wonderful things. Okay.
There's so much in what he said that you can take with you. Reverend John really loves memorizing, and those beautiful words he spoke at the end were from the Desiderata. Just so uplifting. There's so much in there. I know each of us has something that we can take with us in the days and weeks ahead. Wow. And now it's my pleasure to talk about announcements. All right. And what Reverend John was saying sort of leads into announcements, because I'm going to, June is a very full month for Santosha, full calendar, and you can check for more details on Santosha's Facebook page. It's the Santosha Williamsville, but I'm going to highlight 4 of those events. This Saturday, John is talking about meditating and connecting with your spirit guides. Reverend Angie Abt is going to be teaching at 9:30, connecting with your spirit team and receiving guidance and how to receive guidance. And by spirit team, she means your spirit guides. We all have them, and our guardian angels. And I understand that this class will start with a deep meditation. So to help that, right up your alley if you're interested in having a stronger connection with those on the spirit side who love you. Next Wednesday, the 10th of June, Reverend Brenda Reading is going to be teaching, and it's called Connecting and Riding with Spirit. Again, fostering that connection with the spirit side of life and actually writing down guidance that comes to you. And Brenda has had a lot of practice with this. She's taught this class at least several times before with Santosha, and that's on Wednesday, June 10th at 7 to 8:30 p.m. Next up, something for everybody, taking care of our bodies, loving our bodies, respecting them. We have a guest teacher, a yoga teacher, Christine Zabrowski, who's going to be teaching ease of movement through awareness. And that's Saturday, June 10th. That's at 10 a.m. And the description says that it's suited for everyone, but especially for people who have arthritis or recovering from injuries, just need limbering up. This is very gentle movement, and it's a healing type of movement. So
if I can just throw in, it's very relaxing. I love ease of movement. I've taken the class for a long time, so it's wonderful to have her. Because sorry, Erin, go ahead.
Yes, Christine has her own yoga studio right here in Williamsville and teaches a number of classes and has a depth of experience. Last but not least, it's my distinct pleasure to let you know that Reverend John White is going to have a workshop on Saturday, June 27th, and it's Past Lives in the Akashic Records. That's Saturday from 9:30 to 11:30, and as it says right below our pictures, is that you can get more details at the web address that's there. So you've seen them. if you really like him, come and join him on Saturday, June 27th. Okay. All right.
You know what, Irene, I'm going to add one more. Karen, can you come on and talk about our Thursday class this week, our feng shui?
Oh, yes, our Thursday class. Can you guys hear me now that I'm back in the feed here? It's a continuation, and Linda Elson from Feng Shui Your World is teaching a 3-part series. If you've missed the first series, it's okay, or the first class rather, we can send it to you. It's recorded, and she's going to go through the elements and different things this week in part 2. But it is the basics of Feng Shui, and if you don't know what that is, that's the energy of placement for good energy in your, not just your home, but your work, your office, your life, your diet, your lifestyle, and she gets into all of that. But it's traditional Feng Shui too, I think. There's different schools of thought, but you can see that on the website.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's actually one of the wonderful things we have right now is we can record all the classes, so you can watch them in a recording.
Yes, if you're interested in one that we've already done, let us know. We probably have it on recording, and we're working on getting those out in a library that you'll be able to purchase in the future.
Excellent. Yeah, it's like a resource library, you know. So, all right. All right. I feel like I have to say there is one more class during June about if you love to work with your voice. Reverend Tom Kratsley is going to be doing a workshop on using the voice for healing. So that's another one that's remarkable. So
yes, he's one of the best healers ever, and that's this Friday. So yeah, would love to see her. As next Friday. Sorry.
All right.
It's on the 12th, I think. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Friday the 12th. Okay. So we good here? All right. So we're ready. We're going into the message portion of our service, and I'm going to give you a little background information. Message work is a form of verbal healing. We always set our intentions for the highest and the best of the recipients. Very often in group settings, a message given to one person will also resonate with others. So pay attention if you feel that resonance. As Reverend Angie gives messages, if your heart is responding to it, listen carefully, because that message may also be for you. And you'll get healing from it. All right. So at this time, let's see, I'm going to say the message prayer.
Yeah. We'll say it with you.
Let me get that out. Oh God.
Oh God, as we open the door to communication in unity of the Holy Spirit,
the great
I
am presence of the universe, we give thanks, for we know that the words spoken are filled with your love, truth, wisdom, and understanding of the highest. Amen.
So Angie, we're just bringing up messages like we usually do.
Yeah. I see Kathy. I'm gonna go with her, and you can read them to me after that, Karen. Okay.
Oh, sure.
So Kathy, if I can come to you, I keep feeling like change coming for you, and it feels to me like as I'm going into the fall, actually late summer, fall, I feel change, and I feel like it has to do with business or work, and I feel like it feels like a joint effort between you and your husband, and I see a lot of expansion there. I also feel that standing behind you, coming to me, is a woman from the other side. I can see her kind of stepping in. She had a smile on her face. Like, I know your smile is like, lights up a room. And I want to say that hers did too, but not the same as yours, is kind of what she's saying. She's saying you have the most beautiful smile. And I feel like she was a woman. She's saying, I tried my best. I really did my best. And I feel this feels like mom to me, and I actually feel like she comes in also with grandma, and I feel like mom is saying, I didn't do everything perfect, and I appreciate so much it feels like forgiveness, and I feel like understanding that you've given to her because you're such a natural healer yourself, and she's saying thank you for that. Know that I come and know that I'm around you. She keeps showing me little yellow birds and little blue birds. Okay, so I feel when those birds, and she said butterflies too. I feel like she's so excited to step in and get to talk to you and connect with you. And she's saying she always tries to help you in any way that she can all the time. I don't know if Jay is with you, but I want to say there's a gentleman that steps in also for Jay. Okay. And I can see this gentleman, he's saying friend. I feel like the two of them, it's like they're shaking hands and laughing together, and he's acknowledging his sense of humor and Jay's as well. So I'll leave that with you with lots of light and love. Okay. Got one for me, Karen?
Oh, do you want me to pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even read these. Okay. So sorry. Let's see.
Oh, that's okay. We're learning. This is new, doing our church service on Zoom. Okay, so Jill, any changes coming for me anytime soon? Okay, so let me connect in. Okay, so Jill, the first thing I see with you is I keep seeing a crossroads. Okay, I always see like my fingers like this, and I feel like you're sort of at a crossroads, trying to make some decisions. Okay, and we all are right now as Buffalo's beginning to reopen. But I see you making a lot of decisions where it comes to career. Okay, I keep feeling like a change is needed, and it almost feels like before all this happened, I could see that being something that would have been important for you then too. Okay. So I keep seeing like a step. All right. And I feel like to you, it feels like I need to take the next step. And it feels like this big, huge step. But I feel like when you get to it, it's really not as big as you think it is. It feels like a promotion or the next step up in your career path is what I'm seeing. And I feel like the reason it's not going to be so hard is because really you're already doing the work and you're already kind of there. So I want to say that I feel like you're going to be recognized for your effort and the good job that you do and the difference you make. So I see that happening. I also feel this for you too, is it feels like I can see you. It's like you've let go of a lot of things in the past. And I feel like as you go forward and go toward the future, it's like you've made room for new things to come in. And I see that happening. I feel like it maybe already would have started happening, but we all sort of were put on pause. So I see it more for you. Again, that also feels like summer. So I see a lot of changes for you coming in the summer. You also have a grandmother around you that I feel like steps in with a big smile. I want to smile and just gives you a big hug from behind and says, I'm with you every step of the way. You're on the right path. You're in the right direction. And I couldn't be more proud of you. And I'll leave that with you with lots of light and love. Thanks, Jill. I hope that made sense. Angela, may I have a reading, please? Thank you. I hope I'm doing this correctly. Hi, Angela. Yes, you are. How are you? You did it correctly. Okay. So, as I step in with you, Angela, I'm aware of a gentleman who steps in from the spirit side of life. Okay. And this man is giving me, actually feels like grandfather, and I can see him standing tall. I feel like he was a proud man. I saw a military uniform, and I'm not sure what branch, but I see that. Okay. And I feel like that's part of where he was proud. He was somebody that when he said something with purpose. I feel like he was a loving man in many ways, but I don't feel like I feel like you had to get to know him to be a part of his heart. Okay. I want to say that he steps in, he's around you, and he's saying that you're making a lot of changes right now too. And he's talking about how proud you are and how you don't do anything halfway. I feel like when you do something and you do something new, it's like you dedicate yourself to it like 300%. And he's saying that's exactly the same way that he was. Okay. And he's encouraged you, stand tall and stand proud and follow your heart, and you will know exactly what to do every single time. Now, I want to say feel like you have spirit guides around you, and they're showing me how very intuitive you are. And they're showing me to trust, make sure that you trust that intuition and trust the messages you get for yourself, okay, as well as the messages you get for others, okay? I feel like you get gut feelings all the time, and I keep seeing you expanding. It's like expanding on your intuitive gifts, okay? I don't know if you're reading books or taking classes or what have you. I feel if you're not, you'll do that in the future. But I'm seeing really you can just kind of trust every one of those gut feelings you got, because oftentimes I feel like when you don't, you look back and go, oh, I knew I should have done that. So I'll leave that with you with lots of light and love. Thank you. Waiting for the next one. Oh, hey. Hi, Grace. How are you, Grace? I've been finding pennies, wondering who they're from. Okay, right away. Okay, I want to talk about grandma, and I want to talk about mom. And I feel like mom is saying she is so excited about this new path you're on in your life. She shows me that she's been with you every step of the way, and she shows me that it's like she's saying you've come a long way. All right. Like I feel like you've changed so much as a person and who you are on the inside and the things that you do. And she's saying here, there were times, sometimes it's hard to make changes and there are challenges. And I feel like she was with you every step of the way, but she shows me that this new path that you're on, the one that you're about to enter into, but also I feel like all these different new things that you're learning. And I feel like things that you've had time to do during, say, this pandemic, when you've had to stay home. So she shows me that the new path is really exciting. And for some reason, I can see you at home, and probably we're all doing this, but I keep seeing you like reorganizing things and pulling things out of closets and getting rid of stuff. And I can see you going through things. It feels like cupboards and all kinds of things. And I want to say that as you're doing that, okay, it almost feels like clearing the clutter, which Linda Elson could speak on for sure. She teaches a class on that. That's wonderful. But I want to say, I feel like as you're clearing the clutter, it's like clearing and healing things that you held onto in your heart or in your soul for a while. So it's like I see you clearing the clutter in your house and clearing the clutter in your heart and your soul, opening up big spaces for all these new things that you're going to learn, that I feel like these new things actually that you're learning, you're not even sure, what do I do with all this? Okay. And I feel that as you're clearing the clutter, you're making space to be able to see what you're going to do with all this. And I see you very much like working with people and helping people and making a difference, because I feel that's who you are. And your mom is saying, gosh, I followed her whole life. And she just gives you the biggest hug. And she goes, I couldn't be more proud of you. I couldn't be more proud of you. Okay. And I'll leave that with you with lots of light and love, Grace. I hope that helps make sense. Shiny pennies. I heard her say shiny pennies. I don't know if they're shiny. She's saying not all of them, but she does her best because you are so shiny and you shine. Sorry, had to throw that in. Okay. Hi, Heidi. I am preparing to move to Florida. Will I find a good job within the next few weeks so I can get down there? And will I meet my forever soulmate anytime soon? Yes. Okay. As soon as I'm see that question, I see a huge yes. Okay. I feel like moving to Florida is going to be very good for you. All right. Like it feels like I feel like a new start, or you need a change. And I can see you going down there. I also feel this for you too. I keep seeing the sunshine, and I feel like you do better in the sunshine than you do in the shade, if that makes sense to you. So I can see you going down there. It feels like a fresh start, a new start. I like expanding and doing some different things. I feel like you're excited about it, but also a little bit nervous about it too, because it feels like a good move. Yes, you'll find a job. Like I want to say that it feels like as things are opening up, I'm seeing just get out there. I don't know if you already have applications or resumes out there, but I feel like get them out. It's not going to be long at all that I feel like you'll have something. And yes, it'll be enough money. You always have enough. I'm hearing that for you, that you always worry that you're not going to have enough. And I feel like you always do. Okay. you're going to go to Florida and you're going to start this new life. Okay. And I feel like a new job or career, if you will, down there. And I feel like while you're down there, right when you're not thinking about it, all of a sudden you're just going to meet somebody and start talking to somebody. And I feel like this is going to be your soulmate. And you won't even be thinking that, other than you'll be talking to him and you're going to start to feel like, I've known this guy for a long, it feels like I just met him, but I've known him longer. There's going to be a sense of familiarity. And I feel like this is the man, like I'm seeing a ring going on your finger and I'm seeing marriage happening with this as well. So it's almost where I could see you meeting. You're probably wondering, well, when is this going to happen? Okay. And I want to say they're showing me 6 months to a year. So I feel like 6 months to a year, and I see the wedding ring going on your finger. 2 to 3 years is where I'm seeing that. So I feel like you're definitely going in the right direction. Making this move is going to be really good for you. It's going to be really positive, and I feel like it's just what you need. And remember that when you follow your heart, the universe always supports us. So of course, I'm hearing this, like, of course you're going to have the money, and of course you're going to be able to do it, because it's what your heart so much needs and wants, and the universe always supports that. Okay. And I'll leave that with you with lots of light and love. Hope that makes sense and helps.
I'm so sorry about my technical difficulties tonight. I'm having a really a difficult time. So she says thank you there. And how many more did you want to take?
Actually, I want to do one. I'm just picking one really quick. Okay.
Sure.
And that I happen to see go by, because I can't see them all. But Linda, and Linda's asking a question about whether or not her grandparents have been around you. Okay. I feel like actually I can hear your it feels like your grandfather. I could see him kind of winking, and I could see him kind of having a little bit of a sense of humor about him. Okay. And he's kind of saying, you don't really even need to ask that question, because, and he's going, young lady, because you know that we've been around. And he's chuckling, he's kind of laughing, and I feel like I could see them both. I don't know if they weren't real. I don't feel like they were real tall. I don't know why I'm seeing that, but I feel like this huge bright smile, like they would have been so excited to see you, like every time they saw you. And I could see them being like, oh, we're so excited that we get to see her. We're so proud of her, and we loved being around her. And your grandfather and your grandmother, they're both saying they're so excited to talk. I want to talk with my hands, and they're saying you have so much integrity and so many values, and you do so many good things, and they want you to be as proud of you as they're proud of you for the way that you shine. Okay. And I want to say that the message that they're bringing here to you is you're going to be surprised, like, as we start to open back up, because I see you being very successful. Okay. For sure. But I also feel you almost like going in a little bit of a different direction. I don't know if you're planning on that. I feel like doing some of the same work, but I'm seeing it expanding, and I'm seeing you doing some different things, because I feel for you, one of the most important things is doing things that connect to your soul. And so I feel like the work you do already does, but I see you expanding with that. And I see opportunities and doors opening up for you. And I feel like I'm not going to be able to wait to talk to you, because you're going to say, you were right, because I'm so surprised I'm now doing this and this and this and some different things that I feel are going to be just wonderful for you. And your grandparents just support you. I feel like they were so cute, and I don't know if they weren't little. Sometimes I see little as cute, because I feel like they were cute, and they're saying you're so cute too. Okay. And I just see them both giving you hugs, and they would have loved to just, let's just spend the day and just be together, and I feel like they do that with you often now as well. So trust it. They're with you, and I'll leave that with you with lots of light and love.
Beautiful. Thank you for working for Spirit, Angie. It's always a pleasure to witness your work and the love and compassion that comes through it. Thank you.
Thanks, Erin. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everybody, very, very much. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate it, and we want to absolutely thank Reverend John White for joining us from Lilydale. And I'll tell you, that's the one thing I always say this. Some of you have probably heard me say, but there's always a blessing in everything. And my cousin Julie always called it the bless in the mess. And I feel like one of the blesses in the messes is we've learned how to connect this way, okay, like on Zoom. And we've learned that we've brought people in from Lilydale and from different areas and have been able to connect. So I feel like for me, the bless in the mess is I still get to connect with all of you in a different way. So thank you. Thank you.
Yes, and we're planning on having a worship service on Zoom in July and August. So look forward to that. Would you like to finish with the divinity prayer then, Angie?
Yep.
All right, okay. I have it. Or if you
Okay, I do too. Okay. Oh, here I'll do. I have it right here. Okay, so there is a divinity within me that no man can destroy. There is a light within me that only I can dim. As I focus upon this light, it is my perfection, my protection, my very being. It wells within me and fills me. It surrounds me and protects me. It releases me from all negativity and permits myself to move forward in certainty. That wholeness and light are mine, and no thing or being can destroy it. For the Father and I are one and cannot be separated. Know this with certainty. Feel it and experience it. God is, I am, and we are one.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you for coming, all of you. Any final words, Angie?
No, I thank you very much for coming, and we enjoy doing this so much, and we sure appreciate your support coming on, because we get to do something that we love, and we hope you love it too. So
Great.
thank you.
all.
Thank you to thank you to Karen Sully, who we couldn't do any of this without. We would never, everything, the graphics, everything you see is all Karen. She really is. You look at everything we do is Karen. And also my thanks to Reverend Irene, because we wouldn't have a worship service if it weren't for Irene, because she's the one that knew how to do it. I didn't know how to do it. So yeah, thank you to Irene.
You're so welcome.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
My pleasure.
Thank you all.
Good
Have
night.
a great
God
week.
bless you.
We'll see you. Good night.
Good night.